Hey everyone, welcome to a special Sunday night edition of Missing Person Monday. I know it's a little bit last minute, so if there's not a lot of people here live watching tonight, I understand. So if you can't be here with us tonight live, if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. We love our replay crew. We usually do this on Monday nights, obviously. But we had a last minute family. We're going to go out to eat tomorrow night as a family. So I decided to do it tonight because I was afraid I got to work all week, the rest of this week. So I was afraid I wouldn't have time to, or I'd be wiped out. I worked today. Lord, it was hot out there. Hot. But it's Arkansas in the summertime. I think it's hot everywhere right now. So I hope everybody's staying cool, staying hydrated, staying inside if you can. If you have to be out, please take those breaks and cool off. Get some water in you, some electrolytes, and everyone be safe. So tonight we are going to be looking at cases from Nevada. We've been, for anybody new here, we've been making our way through the states, and we're on Nevada tonight. I think I have 6 cold cases to share with you guys. So we'll be doing that. And let me see who has checked in so far. Skits checked in earlier. She said, hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm still getting over a flu. I'll be back once I'm well. I hope you get to feeling better soon, Skits. We'll be thinking about you. Absolutely. Yes, Chris said, welcome, Chris. Good to have you here. Or he checked in earlier. I don't know if he's back yet. Yes, please take care of yourself. Absolutely. Miss Paula is here. Always, it'll come up. Once again, with my sketchy farm signal. Miss Paula is here. Hello, Miss Paula. Always good to see you. Julian is here. Always good to see Julian. Welcome. It's good to see everybody here. Like I said, Sunday is, usually don't do it on Sunday, but I got home and I thought, well, we'll just do it tonight. We'll do it tonight. So let me bring up my slideshow. Get everything going. Like I said, we're doing Nevada tonight. I think I have 6 cases that we're going to be going over. And I think I was actually able to find extra information. The basic information comes from Charlie Project, and then I always try to find additional articles, information, interviews, statements from the family or from law enforcement that's worked on the cases to go along with the Charlie Project information. I think I got heat stroke in my brain. So first on each one, I'll be giving you the Charlie Project information. Then if I have any additional information, I'll be sharing that with you. I think I was able to find on about 3 of the 6 some extra information. So we will get started. The first one we're going to be taking a look at is Trevor George Angell. And Trevor has been missing since September 22nd of 2000 from Primm, Nevada. He is a white male. He was just 28 years old when he went missing. He would be 53 years old as of 2025. At the time he went missing, he was 5'11" and 165 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. It says that he may have a mustache. So that's why I included the picture of him with the mustache. He may have a mustache, beard, or a goatee, and his left ear is pierced. So Trevor was employed as a long-haul truck driver for Cool X Transport out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada in 2000. He hauled meat from Canada into the United States and then produce from the U.S. into Canada. So in September of 2000, he took a load of bananas from Calgary to Los Angeles, California, and he was supposed to return to Calgary with another load, but he never arrived, unfortunately. Trevor stopped at Whiskey Pete's Bar and Casino in Primm, Nevada on September 22nd of 2000 while en route to deliver a shipment to Canada. And I think that was one of his favorite places to stop when he was doing this route. He would usually stop there. Trevor has never been heard from again after that last stop there on the 22nd of September. His truck was discovered abandoned in the establishment's parking lot shortly after he was last seen. So this one is another one of those that keeps me awake at night thinking about what could have happened, because it was just very bizarre circumstances. So the vehicle's cargo was intact, and the refrigerator, it was a refrigerated unit, but it was out of fuel. His wallet was located inside the truck with his driver's license and credit cards inside, but no cash. And there were no other signs of him at the scene. But someone used his ATM card to withdraw money 9 times from September 22nd, which is the day he was last seen, from about 4 a.m. on September 22nd. No, from September 22nd to about 4 a.m. on September 23rd. So sometime during that evening, night through 4 a.m., somebody used his ATM card 9 times. And they ended up withdrawing his entire paycheck from his checking account. So a waitress at Whiskey Pete's reported serving Trevor at around 10 a.m. on September 23rd. She or he said, or I guess it was she, said that he bought oatmeal. He paid with pocket change, with cash. And he was reportedly, now this is one of the many weird, obviously, things that I found about this case. He was reportedly seen later in the parking lot. A witness said he looked sick. He was clutching his stomach. He seemed disoriented, and he was asking for help. But apparently, from everything that I could gather and everything I've read, I'm assuming nobody stopped to help him. Don't know why. I mean, nobody is obligated to help anybody if they see, in signs of distress, but usually someone will at least come up and say, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? What do you need? You need to call an ambulance, whatever the case may be. But apparently, from everything I've read, nobody really, they just say, oh, we saw him on the ground, clutching his stomach. He seemed disoriented, asking for help. But apparently nobody helped. So according to Trevor's loved ones, he did enjoy drinking and gambling. And I think maybe possibly one of the theories or thoughts that I had is possibly the gambling might have something to do with it. And that's just my own thoughts, my opinions, my theories. So he did enjoy drinking and gambling, and he would always stop at Whiskey Pete's while he was driving loads from Los Angeles to Calgary. His family stated that he had been thinking of a career change. Apparently, he was tired of truck driving. He wanted a job that would allow him to spend more time with his wife and son, which is absolutely understandable. And he had told his wife that he planned to do just one more Calgary to Los Angeles trip, and then he was going to quit the trucking industry permanently. Wasn't going to have anything to do with it after that. There were possible sightings of Trevor in Texas in December of 2001. These have not been confirmed. The police believe that he may have left on his own accord. His wife divorced him after his disappearance, and she has since remarried. And her second husband did adopt her and Trevor's son. His former wife has kept the same phone number, however, in case Trevor, if he's still out there alive, if he did leave of his own accord, she kept the same phone number, so he could contact her if he wishes to. And obviously, his case remains unsolved. Sorry, I got something beeping. Sorry, my brother sent me a text message. I'll have to message him back later. He was asking me, my brother from Minnesota Echoes was asking me about what happened at Devil's Den. Yeah, we had and I may do a live stream about that Thursday. At one of our national parks, Devil's Den National Park, which is up in the very northwest part of Arkansas. We had a double homicide there on the park. It was a husband and wife and their two little girls, aged 7 and 9. The parents were unalived. It was a homicide, but they said the little girls, I think they're both girls, were okay and with family members. But yeah, it's just very, very bizarre. Still don't know yet if it's random or if they knew. All they said was that the family had just moved to Arkansas from a different state. So hopefully a little bit more when information will come out. So we might be talking about that, among other things, Thursday night. All right, so back to Trevor. So his case is obviously unsolved. But if you do have any information, you can call the Las Vegas Metro PD at 702-229-2907 or 702-229-3716. And I think I was able to find on Trevor's case, there's actually a 2-part article interview with his parents. So we'll go through that quickly. Let me get that loaded while I check your comments right quick. Julian says, sounds possibly deliberate, though 25 years is a long time to be missing. Yeah. And articles I've read, I don't know if it mentions it in the articles that I'm going to read with the statements from the family, but apparently or allegedly he was maybe in debt to buy his gambling in debt with some people. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but in some articles I read, it just mentioned it. So, and then another thing that was mentioned was that maybe he was possibly embarrassed because he gambled away all his paycheck and he was just embarrassed to go home and just left of his own accord. So, or it could be something nefarious. But the thing with but I don't know, the thing with the clutching the stomach and saying he didn't feel well and to help him, a little bit strange. But then again, it depends on how much you've been drinking. If you drink too much, there is a thing called alcohol poisoning. I'm not saying that's what it is, or it could have been food poisoning. It could have been any manner of things. But yeah, it's just some very, very strange things. Not so far as I've read, Miss Paula, as far as any suspects. Now, when I get into this article, it might have a little bit more information. It's been 2 weeks now because this originally we were going to do this last Monday. But I wasn't feeling good, so I had to cancel the live stream. But Oh, Miss Paula says she won't be here Thursday going to see the Fantastic Four First Steps. I've been seeing commercials for that, trailers for that. She will be doing a review. Excellent. I always like Miss Paula's movie reviews. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Let me see if these articles came up. So this is from reddeerexpress.com. This is part one interview and what his parents have been did and were doing after he went missing. And these articles are from January of 2014. Delburn couple continues to search for missing son. So at the time that this article was written, it had been 13 years since Calgary truck driver Trevor Angell vanished near Las Vegas, Nevada. There are no leads and no answers, but there are plenty of theories, none of which are easing the heartache felt by his parents, Pat and Jim Angell. His mother, Pat, said it somehow gets worse every year. Just can't imagine, now 20-something years later and still no answers. Time is marching on, and the grim realization has long settled in that the Delburn couple will never know what happened to their 28-year-old son. Whether Trevor met with foul play, took his own life, suffered a mental breakdown, or simply started living a secret life are possibilities. The agony comes from not knowing. The search for her missing son lured Pat from her home in the heart of central Alberta's parkland to the sunbaked flats of the Mojave Desert. She said, I feel like from day one, I'm never going to solve this. It is going to take a miracle. She goes on to say, I still want him to walk back. I want everyone who said that he was deceased to be proven wrong. And that would obviously be the ideal outcome. He just comes back one day and says, I'm back. Maybe gives an explanation or doesn't give an explanation, whatever the case may be. I'm sure either way, obviously, his parents and his ex-wife and his son would be very happy to see him. So not long after Trevor disappeared in the fall of 2000, Pat bought her missing son a dog. It was a coping mechanism aimed at soothing the couple's grief and worry, and she named the dog Dude. The black lab retriever has been waiting for the return of a master that he never met. Before Trevor went missing, there were obvious warning signs that all was not well or not right. He followed in his parents' footsteps, working as a long-haul trucker. Pat knows her son was stressed and feeling burned out from trucker's life. At its most extreme, road burn, which is a trucker's, how they describe it, is dangerous. Loneliness, fatigue, and deadline pressure can push drivers over the edge emotionally. Trevor, who is married to his teenage sweetheart, Teresa, and father to their 2-year-old son, said that he was going to quit his job. So apparently, this is what I say when maybe his gambling habits may have come in, possibly, just my opinion, have come into, may have something to do with it. So apparently, according to Trevor's wife, Trevor's head was easily turned by schemes to make quick, easy money. He didn't make the best choices, and he had friends that she considered shady. So Trevor and his wife put their Calgary house up for sale. They had leased an apartment in Cold Lake, which is a 6-hour drive north of the city near the Saskatchewan border. So Trevor was hoping for an easier life, one where he could, enjoy time with his family, be home with his wife and his child every night. And he had also been seeing a psychologist hired by the Calgary long-haul trucking company that he worked for. And this is according to his mother. His mother said he did not know what he wanted to do. He was trying to sort out his life. But Trevor was also hinting at something darker. So this is another number 2 or 3 of the weird things. So his mom said he was starting to say things like, I need a bodyguard. Now, why would you need a bodyguard? So this is where I kind of can make maybe a connection with his Gambling habit is, a lot of times if you're a big gambler, gamble all the time, which is what Trevor did apparently. You go through bookies, loan sharks, whatever you want to call them, and sometimes if you get too much in debt with them, they'll do certain things to get their money. I mean, so I'm not saying that that's what he meant by needing a bodyguard, but it's just the first thing that came to my mind. But please let me know in the chat if you're here, or in the comments below if you're watching replay. So Trevor liked to drink. He liked to gamble. He didn't always keep in touch, but apparently that wasn't enough for his mom to be worried enough to really meddle a whole lot in his life. So in September of 2000, Trevor said that an upcoming cargo haul near Los Angeles was going to be his last. He said, "This is the last one. I'm done with it. I'm tired of it. I want to be home. So this is it." So he'd made the 5,000 kilometer, and I don't know what that is in miles, round trip many times before. It's a long drive from Alberta to LA. It's about a 25-hour drive. So Pat suspects her son would have flaunted the rules, pushing to make the drive without many, if any, stops. So we all know that, truckers can only drive so many hours before they have to stop and rest, and supposed to keep logs, but some of them may fudge a little bit. So his mom says, Trevor may have fudged a little bit and driven all the way through. So on September 19th, Trevor left a meatpacking plant in Brooks around noon, delivering a load of beef to Los Angeles. There, his truck was reloaded for Calgary, and it was loaded with bananas. So the bright spot in the return trip was a stop at Trevor's favorite haunt just 3 hours away near Las Vegas, and this will be Whiskey Pete's. So with its 3 casinos located just over the California state line, Primm, Nevada is a playground for impatient gamblers headed to Las Vegas down the interstate, or as the last chance for luck before leaving Nevada. Whiskey Pete's Hotel and Casino was a welcoming sight for Trevor, who parked his 18-wheeler near the others. A record showed that Trevor fueled his rig in Primm on September 22nd. So that was the last day he was seen. A dispatcher was among the last known to talk to Trevor that morning around 10 a.m. Trevor had also talked to his wife, saying that he had not slept in 4 days. So that's another thing that makes me think, along with what his mom said, that he may have just driven the whole, 25 hours and hadn't slept before or after that, apparently. She urged him, his wife urged him to come home. He said, "Just one more delivery after this, and, I'm quitting for good." That's what he kept telling her. So it wasn't long after that Pat and Jim, his parents, received a worried call. Trevor was not answering calls from the trucking company, and GPS revealed that his rig remained in Primm at the Whiskey Pete's parking lot. So the company actually reported Trevor missing. So 3 days later, the company's truckers found the semi-truck and trailer parked in the casino lot among the others. The load was intact, but the refrigerator was out of fuel. Once again, Trevor's wallet, which had no cash, I believe it said his ID and his credit card were still in there, but no cash. They were still inside the cab. There were no easy answers. Feeling frustrated and helpless, Pat, his mom, traveled to Vegas to find her missing son. Teresa, his wife, joined her. Primm's casinos are linked by monorail. So they thought, well, he's probably riding the tram back and forth, trying to find his luck at some other casinos, Buffalo Bills, Primm Valley Resort, some other casino hotels that were around there. She says, "We thought it would be simple. He'd be gambling, he'd be broke, and we would find him." So that is part 1. Let me get part 2 going. Check your comments right quick and get a drink. See if anybody snuck in on me. I'll be Frank. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. There's Dave. He's probably listening and driving. Yep, he's listening and driving. Good to see you, Dave. I'm sorry I missed your live stream last night. I had a horrible headache yesterday after working, and I went to bed. I will be replay crew as usual, but everybody please check Dave out. Far is here. Hello, Far. Good to see you. Says, hey, Southern Gallant, everyone. Hope all is well. We hope you are doing well as well. And Far is listening on the phone or listening on TV, phone on charge, so can't chat much. Absolutely. We understand. All right. So let me see if the second part is loaded. Okay. So this is the second part of the two-part article, once again from January of 2014. A mystery of 13-year disappearance haunts a local family. So it's going to basically pick up where it left off. So in Primm, Nevada, records show that Trevor's debit card, like we said earlier, was used 9 times to make withdrawals up until 4 a.m. on September 23rd of 2000. And Teresa, his wife, learned that his entire paycheck had been drained from his account or from their account. So whoever it was, whether it was Trevor or somebody else, just completely drained the account. So Pat and Jim, his parents, knew Primm well. As truckers themselves, they had stayed at the large roadside casino and hotel. The busy gambling town is a friendly one, but back in 1987, a 7-year-old boy was found the victim of a homicide after vanishing from Whiskey Pete's video arcade. The body of Alexander Harris was discovered under a trailer 1 month later, and he had been strangled, unfortunately. So I might have to look into that one too. I have to look into that. So Pat, his mother, Trevor's mother, started her search at the casino's cafe. Susanna, a waitress, remembered serving Trevor. She was off the day he went missing, but another waitress recalled Trevor stopping in September 23rd at 10 a.m. He'd ordered oatmeal. He paid and tipped with just cash from his pocket. Somebody said Trevor looked sick. He was bent over, holding his stomach. He had been seen lying in the parking lot asking for help. He seemed disoriented. Like I said, as far as I can tell, nobody's stopped to help him. Or, I mean, they may have, because evidently he was asking for help. But when his mom and parents and wife got there, they called hospitals, they called clinics, they even called the Salvation Army to see if her son had sought shelter there, but no one had seen him. So in the cafe, Pat sat across the table from Susanna, the waitress, holding her hands. And the waitress asked, do you think he's deceased? Trevor's mom said no, but maybe close to it. So the family piled into a rental car. They searched near the dam. At night, they followed rough roads toward the lights from drilling sites. They called out his name. They said their voices carried, across the, because flat land there. So their voices carried across the sand and the land there. She said, we did scary things. We were told that we would get shot because there are diamond mines out there, but you would do anything when you're looking for someone that's one of your loved ones. So a private detective agency ad in the local newspaper caught Pat's eye. The young man they spoke with the truckers who had come to pick up Trevor's rig. When Pat asked Trevor's company for information, they said it was now a family matter. And the company's dispatcher told Pat that she believed that Trevor had a gambling problem. So it keeps coming back to the gambling. So that's why probably my number one theory is something to do with the gambling. His mom says it always seemed like we were running up against brick walls. So on October 4th, Pat and Jim, his parents, flew home. After draining days of talking to strangers and searching a desert notorious for swallowing secrets, they had no answers. The detective agency followed up with a phone call. Apparently, a monsoon was expected to hit Las Vegas any day. That meant flash floods and bodies could wash up. And so this private, I'm assuming this private investigator said, now we can help you. So Pat thought about the young man she remembered as barely helpful, armed with flyers, and the $700 that she had already paid. So apparently, from what I gather from these statements, the private investigator wasn't much of a help. And she says, I told him we paid you all we're going to pay you. So they were done with the private investigator. You have to be I've heard lots of advocates say you've got to be very careful with if you're going to hire thinking about hiring a private investigator, because some of them are shady. So both Pat and Trevor's wife hope for updates from the police. They said, I did everything I could. I kept writing and phoning people. It just fizzles right out. But except for Trevor's case airing on the television show America's Most Wanted in 2005, the search hit a dead end. Speaking of that, I think, isn't America's Most Wanted coming back with John Walsh? They're going to start doing new episodes. Anyway. So rumors and sightings never panned out. Psychics tips placed Trevor anywhere from Leduc to the beaches of Acapulco. His mom says, I've had people ask what's worse, the death or the missing. She said the missing is a little easier because you have hope. If you have no hope, it is the hardest. So the cold case remains open, but police remain doubtful that it will be resolved anytime soon. Las Vegas Metro PD Detective Dan Hawley said it's not going anywhere. He went on to say, I think Trevor Angell is still out there. I don't think he's in distress or someplace where he can't defend himself or speak for himself. I think it's his choice to fall off the earth in America. So according to this Detective Hawley, he thinks that Trevor just left of his own accord for some reason. He goes on to say, I suspect he's still out there somewhere walking and talking just for whatever reason, not interested in talking to his family. He says, we'll get a lot of that. I'm sure everybody does. He says, I don't have any evidence to show that, but when you do this enough, you get a pretty good feeling of how people behave. So Detective Hawley, who is a 30-year veteran, says the U.S. National DNA Database holds 40,000 sets of unidentified human remains, and about 4,000 bodies and bones are discovered each year. That's just mind-blowing. So it does say, even though, let's say it's illegal, but they do say even though he was a citizen of Canada, that his DNA is in the USA's national database. He says, which is illegal to do here in America, but we've got a way that we can work around it. We have a lot of Canadian citizens whose DNA is in our national database. So, and I don't necessarily, it may be illegal, but I don't necessarily see it as, the worst thing in the world, because, a lot of Canadians visit here and Americans visit Canada. So I don't, see, it'd be good to have DNA and vice versa, just in case of situations like this. So a strange feeling washes over Pat, his mom, now and again. Once, while driving her rig through North Dakota in the 1990s, another trucker in the passing lane slowed to smile and wave, and it was Trevor. So Pat is holding out hope that Trevor will surprise her again. She says he should appear when he was a teenager. It didn't matter what time dinner was. He would walk in the door just in time. Now it is 13 years and not a peep. It drives me crazy sometimes. The disappearance also took its toll on Teresa, his wife, or his ex-wife, who searched desperately for her missing husband with Pat. And then after a year, she applied for a divorce and she moved away to raise their son. She has since remarried, and her new husband, legally adopted Trevor's son. She says they have a wonderfully close relationship. She says, Trevor was my first love. He'll always have a special place in my heart. She says, I just got to that point where I knew my son deserved a normal life. And I can absolutely understand that. So at that time that this was written, the 15-year-old boy proudly has his learner's license, and he aims to become a firefighter. So he didn't want to follow in the footsteps of his grandparents and his dad. He wants to become a firefighter, which I think is excellent. So amid all the changes to her life, Teresa has kept the same cell phone number all these years, hoping Trevor or a tipster who saw the missing persons poster will call. She says, I've never changed it. I don't ever want to be blamed for not getting the information. I'd never be able to live with that. So Pat and Jim, for some reason, Pat and Jim are Trevor's parents. For some reason, it says they are estranged from their grandson, who they haven't seen since he was 3. And Pat was startled by what she saw in the recent photograph. She said he bears quite a resemblance. He has the same kind of smile. He has the same eyebrows and the same build. But unfortunately, so we talked about how earlier how Trevor's parents had bought a dog for when Trevor returned, he would have a dog. But unfortunately, it said recently, and this was written, I believe, in 2014, the dog that Pat bought for Trevor's homecoming became sick and he passed away. So, dude passed away. But Pat said the dog we got for Trevor lasted 13 and a half years. She says, in closing, she says, I guess I'm still hoping for that miracle, that divine intervention. There's nothing more that I can do. So that was interviews with or what his parents and his wife did after he disappeared. I mean, I don't know. To me, please let me know in chat if you're here live, or in comments if you're watching a replay. I don't know. I just keep going back to the gambling thing. I don't know. I just think the gambling may, and this is just all my uneducated opinion, gambling may have something to do with it. I don't know. Like I said, either he owed money to, he gambled a lot. Either he maybe owed money to a bookie or whatever and couldn't pay and something happened, or he himself gambled all the money away and he was the one that withdrew all the money from the checking account and gambled it away and was just embarrassed about it and just decided, I'm not going to go home. I'm embarrassed, and just disappeared of his own accord. Or it could be, something nefarious. Let me get a drink. Getting caught up in your comments right quick. I think some people snuck in on me. Let me get back down here. Hey, Patriotism, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Hello, hello. Junior is here. Hello, Junior. He is here. He is in Michigan tonight. Always good to have Mr. Junior here. Oh, Junior said he was watching the interview room. I like watching the interview room sometimes. Mustang is here. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, is Gibbo not stay up late either? AKA, I'll be frank, Gibbo, not stay up late. We got some early birds. There's Miss PJ. Hello, 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 my dear. Yes, please, welcome all. Please remember, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Absolutely. The most important thing we can all do to anybody's videos, live streams, not just mine, everybody who does them. Post missing persons posters is share, 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 share. That is absolutely share it here on YouTube, on whatever other social media platforms that you may be on. Please do share. Very important. All right. You get caught up. Make sure I don't miss anybody. I don't know who you're talking about. Alice checking on somebody. I don't know if it was me or somebody else. So just have to check in on you at times and make sure you are okay. Well, we hope you are okay, Dave. We have to check in on our Dave too. Frank is it? Okay, so Frank is in the UK. Excellent. So we have UK represented. And Skips was here earlier. She checked in. She's sick. She's in New Zealand. We have Far here. She's from Australia. So we have UK and, of course, the US. All right. Mark right there. And we will get on. Get one more drink. I'm going to drink me some more water. Dehydrated. All right. So next we have Robert Carl Beaufort or Beffort Beaufort. I apologize for anything I pronounce incorrectly. I don't believe I was able to find any additional information aside from the trolley project. But this is Robert Carl Beaufort. He has been missing since July 21st, 2000. So it's over, what's today, the 27th? Over 25 years, right at the 25-year mark. He is missing from Silver Springs, Nevada. He was 42 years old at the time he went missing. He would be 67 years old as of 2025. I almost said 2005. At the time he went missing, he was 6'3" to 6'4" tall and 165 to 180 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. His nicknames are Bob and Biker Bob. He has a surgical scar on his abdomen and a 16-inch surgical scar along his spine. He wears eyeglasses. He has the following tattoos. He has a girl on his upper left arm and the words "Live to Ride" on his upper right arm. And doesn't give any clothing description of when he went missing. So Robert was a mechanic, or was a mechanic and a musician. He was last seen in Silver Springs, Nevada on July 21st, 2000. So this is strange. So there's, once again, not very scant information on this one, but we'll go with what we have. So apparently there was a note left behind stating that he had health problems and he suggested making funeral arrangements. So he was last seen driving a green 1969 Chevy Corvette. Let's see if the car is not accounted for. With the license plate number 655KHU, which has since been reported stolen. I don't know who reported it stolen. It has never been located. He may have been sighted at a pawn shop in Fallon, Nevada, sometime in March of 2001. This has not been confirmed. Authorities do believe that he may have been the victim of a homicide. They do have a person of interest in the case. They said it's someone who lives out of state and has not been publicly identified. So we all know that, law enforcement keeps stuff to themselves in cases, but this is like 25 years old. So if they haven't made any progress since then, you might, in my opinion, you may want to release a little bit of information, maybe on this person of interest. Of course, his case remains unsolved, and that's, like I said, that is all the information I could find. I dug far and wide on the Google machine, as Mr. Steve would say, to find anything I could. I don't think I was even able to find anything on Web Sleuths, and usually on Web Sleuths you can find some comments from somebody who knows, related with the case, but I was not even able to find anything on Web Sleuths, unfortunately. So if you have any information, you can call the Lyon County Sheriff's Office at 775-463-6600. Let me get the next one going. Get caught up real quick. Everything's jumping. Miss Doodlebug is here. She says, hey there, humans. Hello, human. How are you doing, ma'am? Good to see you. I know it's weird being here on a Sunday night. I think patriotism says something about, wow, you're on a Sunday night. Yeah. For anybody coming in late, I had a last minute family is going to go out to eat supper tomorrow night. So I said, we'll just do it tonight. Get it taken care of. Thank you, Miss Doodles, putting in some links. You are very welcome, Miss Paula. There's Dave, Alan LaProw's link. PJ says she's feeling sort of human today. Yeah, Gibbo or I'll be frank said, wow, thought that one was Manson. Yeah, it does kind of have that Manson look, biker look, SKer look. Apparently he was a biker because one of his nicknames was Biker Bob. But I really wish I could have found some more information on this. I might have to dig when I get time, dig even deeper and see if I can find anything. Because especially since authorities said that they do believe he's a victim of a homicide, and they did have did at one point have a person of interest. So thank you very much. There's Miss PJ's channel. Far says she's hanging in there. All right. So that was Mr. Beaufort. All right, so next we have Stephen Howard Bradley. So Stephen has been missing since July 31st, so it's coming up on 2006, so it's coming up on my math, 24 years. No, be coming up on 24 years. I don't know. He has been missing. He's missing from Las Vegas, Nevada. He's a white male. He was 37 years old at the time he went missing. He would be 56 years old as of 2025. At the time he went missing, he was 5'10" tall, 196 pounds, with light brown hair and green eyes. He has a scar on his ankle, a scar on his hand, and a surgical scar from a hernia operation. It says he has a flesh-colored mole above his eye, and he has previously fractured his ankle. So he was last seen wearing a blue t-shirt, jean shorts, hiking boots, a beige baseball cap with the Corona logo on it, and a white gold wedding band. It says he has unspecified medical condition and needs medication, and he was carrying a gray or silver backpack. So Stephen left his Las Vegas, Nevada home at around 7:30 a.m. on July 31st, 2006 for his job at Macintosh Communications. He called the office on the way there to tell them that he would be late. So Brad apparently never arrived to work. So his wife reported him missing that afternoon after he failed to pick up their two daughters from school. The last place he is known to have been was at an ATM in the vicinity of Tropicana and Jones. He withdrew money from the ATM between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. So we know he didn't make it to work, and either he or somebody else withdrew money from an ATM between 12 and 1 p.m. Now, my question is, don't all ATMs have cameras? So can't they look at the camera and see who withdrew, if it was he or somebody else that withdrew the money? At least that's my understanding of ATM machines. So his black 1999 Toyota 4Runner was later located abandoned in Lake Elsinore, California. Foul play is suspected in his disappearance. So yeah, that's what bothers me about this, and I think I do have an article. Or maybe just something from Web Sleuths. But yeah, it's just usually with ATMs there is a camera. to see, just for those purposes, to see who is withdrawn, just in case anything happens. So they should be able, or should have been able, to look at the camera to see who was withdrawing the money. So if you have any information, you can call the Las Vegas Metro Police Department at 702-828-5678. Like I said, I think I just found maybe some interesting comments on Web Sleuths. Let me find them. So car found once again abandoned in Lake Elsinore en route to San Diego. Foul play suspected. Trying to get down to the ones. So that's the Charlie Project information. So one comment says, and this is from March of 2010, whoever the poster was on WebSleuth says, I'm wondering if he ever made it to work that day, which he didn't. He was recorded at the ATM between noon and 1 withdrawing money. He left his house at 7:30 a.m. Where was he in between that? Yeah, so even if it was him withdrawing the money from the ATM, where was he from when he left his house at 7:30 a.m. till, what was it, noon, when money was withdrawn, if it was him? This person says, I don't know what his job was, but his clothing sounds a bit casual for work. And then they ask how much money did he withdraw. I don't think it ever said how much money. I think somebody who knew him made some comments about where he had possibly, allegedly had been. Let me find them. So take this with a grain of salt, although I think you have to be verified on Web Sleuths as being connected to the case, a family member, friend, somebody who has intimate knowledge of the case, before they will let you post something. But someone posted, Stephen was at a residence on Bree Boulevard the day he went missing. The major cross streets are Jones and Tropicana, which that I believe is where the ATM was in that location. This person alleges that Stephen went to speak with a former friend that he had a falling out with. And it says, unfortunately, a few days passed before it was discovered that Stephen went to that residence. This person says someone needs to do the right thing and come forward to provide information so this case can be solved. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. But like I said, one thing with Web Sleuths, you have to be checked and verified before you can, post things such as this. So that's interesting. That's very interesting, I thought. Let's see if there's anything else. There was some there were some people speculating on, trying to see if there's any does that were found, human remains that have been found that could possibly be him. So they're given the inclusions or exclusions. So, I think that might have been it. So the same person that was talking about Stephen could have allegedly went to a house, said the last person to see Stephen did some work on cell towers. At one time, Stephen assisted him with some tower work. This person has knowledge of remote locations. I don't think Red Rock area would be likely, and the clothing for the case listed does not match. So it may be somebody had posted, could this unidentified possibly be him? Possibly be Stephen. So the same person, I'm not going to give the last name, but the same person says Stephen visited the house of a person named Gary the morning of his disappearance. Las Vegas Metro PD failed to release this information. Not sure why. I believe it is an important detail in the case. So it is possible that he did visit a person he knew, a friend, or maybe not a friend. Maybe if it was him withdrawing money from the ATM, maybe he owed this person money. This is, of course, all speculation because nothing concrete from law enforcement or anything like that. Just comment, so take it with a grain of salt. But it would make sense. It would make sense. So just let me know what you guys think about it. Let me check. Hey, Chris. Chris is back. Good to see you back, Chris. Yep, it was at church. Absolutely. Ginger says, why do they call it the Charlie Project? I really don't know. I'm assuming it's named after a person that was missing. Miss Lisa Joe was here, or maybe Miss PJ or Doodle knows. I don't know why they call it the Charlie Project. I've just always gone off the assumption. So I do know if you go to the Charlie Project, there is an about section, so I'm sure it tells there. But I'm just assuming that it was named after a person that went missing. That maybe whoever started the website knew or was a loved one or something of that nature. Oh, there we go. See, I should have looked down one more comment. Miss PJ said, named after the kidnapping of Charlie Ross. Thank you. Oh, Miss Paula and her Cheerios. I always want Cheerios when you say that. Chris said he is a little bit familiar with Stephen's case. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look and dig into, but I dig, when I do research, when I put the cases together that I want to share, I do my research, get on the Google machine and go, 5, 6, 7 pages deep on Google to try to find anything. And sometimes you come up empty. You can't find anything. Okay, so Miss PJ said, no problem. It was the first major abduction case in the United States. Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am. Hey, Romero. Good to see you. Glad you can make it tonight. All right. So let me turn off my camera for a minute, get a drink. Let me get my next one loaded, which I should have already had doing. I'm not going to say it because I'll mess it up. Oh, did I? So next is Patrick Francis Carnes. So now we're going to get into, and I hope Dave is still listening, because we're going to get into a little bit of a speculating theory about long haul serial offenders with this next case. So very, very interesting. Horrifying, but very interesting. All right. So this is Patrick Francis. I might have said Carnahan. Patrick Francis Carnes. And Mr. Carnes has been missing since April 13th, 2011 from Wells, Nevada. He is a white male. He was 86 years old. When he went missing, he would be 100 years old as of 2025. At the time he went missing, he was 5'11" to 6 feet tall and 180 pounds with gray hair and blue eyes. It says he may have been unshaven, and he wears eyeglasses, and his nickname is Pat. He was last known to be wearing a tan jacket, a blue plaid shirt, tan or beige pants, tan canvas shoes, and a Toledo Mud Hens baseball cap. And he does have a vehicle, which is accounted for, which is one of the very strange things, among others. So Mr. Carnes was last seen in Wells, Nevada on April 13th, 2011. Excuse me. He was driving a green Subaru Forester when the Nevada Highway Patrol stopped him for a traffic violation at around 9 p.m. It was just a minor violation. I think it was for not moving over. I think police, law enforcement had somebody pulled over, and we have the move over law. If you can move over to the next lane, move over. I think that's all it was. So he had been visiting relatives in Toledo, Ohio, and he was on his way back home to Reno, Nevada. So when Mr. Carnes spoke to the patrolman, he indicated that he was following a truck driver and that the trucker was going to Elko, Nevada. So that's another check on the list of strange things. He has never been seen or heard from again, and the truck driver that he was supposedly following has never been identified. So just before 6 a.m. the next day, Mr. Carnes' vehicle was found abandoned in a rural area at the 205 Pumpernickel Valley exit ramp off of Interstate 80 near Winnemucca, Nevada. There was no sign of him at the scene, and he also had his pet dog with him, which was an 8-year-old male dog named Lucky. Lucky is also missing. So Lucky is a brown Akita mixed breed. It said he was slightly overweight at the time. He weighed about 80 to 100 pounds. And I think I did put the smaller picture there is Lucky. So it said that Mr. Carnes rarely went anywhere without Lucky with him. So Mr. Carnes' truck did have gas in it. It was in operable condition when it was found, but it was high-centered and stuck in some sagebrush, and it was facing the wrong direction. All of Mr. Carnes' personal belongings, including his checkbook, were inside the vehicle. There were no indications of a struggle and only a single set of footprints leading away from the scene. So apparently it was human footprints. So I'm going to go off the assumption that they didn't find any doggy, little Lucky's footprints anywhere leading away. So curiously, the place where the truck was found is the exact same exit where Judith Casitas' car was located after she disappeared in 2006. So authorities want to make it clear they have no evidence that the two cases are connected, but I have questions about that. So Mr. Carnes is a World War II veteran. He served in the Solomon Islands in the South Pacific. He is also a former truck driver. He is close to his family, and he was in excellent health for his age at the time of his disappearance. Although there is no hard evidence of foul play in his case, his family and the police believe that he did come to harm. Obviously, his disappearance remains unsolved. So if you have any information, you can call the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office at 775-623-6419. So I do have a couple of articles. Like I said, I don't know if Dave is still listening or not, or he may watch replay, but Dave is also very interested in this concept, which I am too, of long haul truck drivers, or not all, but a number of serial offenders could be long haul truck drivers. It's the perfect cover. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So let me find the first article. Hopefully it won't throw me behind any paywalls. So this first one comes from hubpages.com, and it is from April, or was updated April of this year. Patrick Carnes, Nevada man, and his dog vanish. So mystery along a desolate stretch of road. In April 2011, 86-year-old Patrick Carnes drove from Nevada to Ohio with his beloved dog Lucky in tow to visit family as well as retirement homes in the area, since he was planning on moving back to the state. Despite his age, he was said to be mentally sharp and still in excellent health. Trying to get rid of ads so they won't go away. So during his return trip to Nevada, Patrick was spotted along the way. Nothing appeared to be wrong. That is, make sure I didn't skip anything. Okay. That is until his vehicle was found abandoned in the field off of Interstate 80, 200 miles away from his apartment in Reno on the morning of April 14th. So Patrick and Lucky were nowhere to be found, yet the items that Patrick was known to have brought with him were reportedly still there. Though there were no overt signs of foul play present, the eerie similarities of his case to that of a missing woman would raise suspicions that both may have been the victim of the same assailant, possibly a serial offender. So what happened to Patrick Carnes? So just a little bit of background on Mr. Carnes. He was one of 7 children. He was born on January 30th, 1925 in Cleveland, Ohio. Pat, as he was known to those closest to him, that served as an aviation radio man in the Navy during World War II before being honorably discharged. He eventually met and fell in love with a woman named Margaret. The couple got married on October 6, 1949. They would go on to have 4 children together. Pat worked as a trucker for a time. He went on to earn a business degree from the University of California, Los Angeles, or UCLA. Following his graduation from college, he began working as a systems manager for the Rand Corporation. So a devoted husband and father, Pat was also said to be a loving and intelligent person with a passion for travel. After retirement, he and Margaret, get rid of these dad blame ads. So after retirement, he and Margaret moved across the country to Reno, Nevada. Sadly, Margaret passed away in 2004. So lonely and missing his wife of 55 years, Pat adopted Lucky, who became his best friend and constant companion. So in 2011, 86-year-old Pat decided that he would like to move back to Ohio to be closer to his family. He and 8-year-old Lucky made the cross-country journey to Ohio in April of that year. Pat stayed with family during his time there. He toured multiple retirement homes looking for the right one for him. So as previously mentioned, he was still in good health. The only thing that slowed him down a bit was an old leg injury, which had left him with a limp. And so I don't know if he'll mention it in the other article that I have or this article, but that's one of the reasons I give that Patrick might not have left. Might not have been the one that left the truck there, because his family and friends, everybody knew he had this leg injury, he had a limp. They said he would not have been able to walk far enough away from the vehicle. And they did a search of the surrounding area, obviously, when they found his vehicle, did not find a sign of him. They said he would not have been able to walk very far at all with the condition that his leg was in. So, So Pat was on the final leg of his journey back to Reno when he was stopped by a police officer for a traffic violation just outside of Wells, Nevada at around 9 p.m. on April 13th. He had failed to either slow down or switch lanes when passing a tractor trailer that had been pulled over by law enforcement. So when speaking to this officer that pulled him over, Pat mentioned that he had been following the semi-truck ahead of him because the driver was heading to Elko. And apparently Pat wanted to spend the night in a hotel in Elko before driving the rest of the way home the next morning. So that, to me, that's a little, I mean, you know, they said he was very sharp mentally. I mean, I know nothing. I've been through, you know, just a couple weeks ago, I was in parts of, went through, did we go through Nevada? We might not have. Anyway. But you would think that he could find Elko by himself, but I mean, you never know. You never know. So unfortunately, there's no further context for that statement about him wanting to follow this trucker to Elko. How did Pat know where the driver was going? So presumably presumably the two must have spoken prior to Pat getting stopped and making the statement. So that's the question. Did they stop at Pat stop at a truck stop to get gas or get, snacks or drinks or, stretch his legs and happened upon, a truck driver and mentioned that he was going to go to Elko, and the truck driver said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Elko too. Just follow me." It seems a little, I don't know, just something in the back of my head, one of those nagging things. So perhaps that they had a conversation at a rest stop. This person has never come forward, and the resolution of the dash cam footage was too poor to make out a license plate number. So the patrolman found Pat to be polite and reasonable. He let him go with a warning. Before departing, Pat jokingly said that he would never drive at night again, and this would turn out to be an eerily prescient statement. So he stopped at a gas station in Wales, which is approximately 50 miles away from Elko, before continuing on his way. So I mentioned earlier about it could have been somebody else. Was it somebody else that left his vehicle in this, out in the middle of nowhere, or he was driving at night? Could he have got confused, got off the exit for some reason, maybe thinking he was at Elko, or just lost and wanted to get off, get his bearings, and start heading to Elko, and he just on his own ended up in this remote area, high centered. Because it said, but what gets me is it said there's one set of human footprints. No, they didn't make any mention of doggy footprints. And then the fact that he had a bum leg and he limped, and that his family says he would not have been able to walk very far. And it didn't say if the footprints were leading back towards the freeway, towards the exit. It could have been he could have made it back to the exit and somebody picked him up from the exit and something happened from there. It's very, very strange. But whether or not Pat made it to Elko that night is a mystery. The traffic cams in the area that could have helped to answer these questions weren't working at the time. That's always the case. So at approximately 6 a.m. on April 14th, Pat's green Subaru Forester was found stuck in sagebrush in a field off of I-80 near Winnemucca, which is around 200 miles away from his home. The vehicle was facing in the opposite direction from where Patrick was heading. So it was facing in the opposite direction of where he was going. There was a single set of footprints leading away from the Subaru, but it has never been determined if they belong to Pat. So it could have been Pat, it could have been somebody else. So what do you guys think? In the chat, let me know, or in comments. If you're watching replay, do you think it was Pat's footprints? Show of hands, Pat's footprint, somebody else's? Where was Lucky? What happened to Lucky? Where was Lucky's footprints? It says there's no sign of a struggle. The SUV still had gas. It was fully operational. Multiple sources state that all of his belongings were inside, but others contradict this, saying that his wallet was missing. So Pat did not have credit cards. He primarily used cash, but it is unknown how much cash he would have had on him at the time that he vanished. So they ran the license plate number and learned that the Subaru belonged to Pat, to Mr. Carnes. As he didn't have a cell phone, investigators attempted to contact him at his apartment. They received no answer. This, in addition to a situation that was already strange, caused concern. So they went directly to his residence to perform a welfare check, but he was not there. So by this point, his family has started to worry also. He was also good about letting them know when he had arrived home after a long drive, but he had not done so this time. So two of his sons went to his apartment, found it empty, just as the officers had. So he was reported missing, and a search of the area where his SUV was parked was carried out on land with search dogs and by air. However, no clues as to the whereabouts of either Pat or Lucky turned up. And all told, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Department put hundreds of man hours into looking for them. So it seems unlikely, both to the authorities and his family, that he would have driven into a desolate field and simply just walked off, especially since they never found anything of him. Additionally, given his limp, no one thought he could have made it on foot anyway. It says they were unable to recover any usable fingerprints from the Subaru. It said tips did pour in, as well as a couple of possibly significant sightings. One of the undersheriffs said that someone said that a trucker said that he saw an old man with a dog. Additionally, another eyewitness reported having seen a dog that resembled Lucky near the same exit a few days after Pat's SUV was discovered, and he was on his own. So neither of these sightings could be confirmed. The exact nature of the other tips is unclear, but none of them appears to have led anywhere, unfortunately. So possible connection to another case. So this is the one we mentioned before, Judith Casita. So Interstate 80 is sometimes referred to as the Big Lonely for its long and desolate stretches. It is associated with several unsolved homicides and missing persons cases. So we might have to do a live stream just about this stretch of the Big Lonely here. One case in particular stood out to law enforcement for its similarities to the circumstances of Pat's disappearance. 5 years earlier, on February 14th, 2006, 62-year-old Judith Casita drove away from her home in Reno, leaving behind a note for her husband, which explained that she was depressed and no longer happy in her marriage to him. She was leaving him, as she said in the note, and by the time that he came across the letter, she was already gone. So Judith was spotted at various points early in her journey, including at a McDonald's in Lovelock, Nevada, but after this, her movements are unknown. So 3 weeks later, her white Mazda pickup truck was discovered in almost the exact same spot as Pat's Subaru would turn up years later. So what are the chances? I don't believe in coincidences. Could be wrong, but I mean, in just almost the exact same spot. So as with Mr. Carnes' vehicle, Judith's truck still had gas. It was in good working order. There was no obvious signs of foul play, but she was gone. She was not there. And once again, a single set of footprints led away from the scene. I mean, come on. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but come on. And like Pat and Lucky, Judith has never been found. So while it is unknown if there truly is any connection between these two cases, investigators strongly suspected that Pat, Mr. Carnes, had been the victim of foul play, and his family does agree. Pat's son Jim says, "We just think there was foul play involved. We don't have any proof of that, but it's leading to that because where else could he be?" The nearest rest stop was 10 miles away, and the small town of Golconda was 12 miles away. So unless, with a bum leg and his age, although they said he was very fit for his age, walking 10 miles or 12 miles, especially at nighttime, just to me seems unlikely. So according to authorities, this suggests that if foul play were involved, the assailant either had a vehicle of their own within walking distance or was picked up by someone after leaving Pat's SUV behind. Had Pat been taken somewhere in another vehicle while someone else drove his Subaru and found a place to leave it? So when the law enforcement says, "My gut tells me there's two people involved, just for the logistics, just for the ability, whether something happened west of Wells where he stopped, somebody could have said, hey man, come on and get up in the cab because you're tired. So they're saying essentially that maybe somehow he did end up broken down somewhere, or he did end up in that particular place by accident, and he did make it back out walking closer to the exit. Somebody picked him up, and something nefarious happened after that. And they're saying possibly a truck driver. So, in fact, law enforcement theorized that a serial offender might be responsible. The FBI formed a task force in 2009 specifically for the purpose of investigating suspected serial offenders who work as long-haul truckers. It is believed that this might be a common profession for serial offenders, and several known serial offenders did work as truckers, as the constant travel and freedom would allow them to target victims in any number of places and leave their bodies behind somewhere along the way. So this would also cause, they kidnap them in one state and dump them in another state, that it would make it a little bit harder maybe for this person that's missing in this state to be connected to maybe somebody remains found in another state. That jurisdictions might not be able to communicate, and they might not be able to put it together. Okay, just my opinion, obviously. I lost my place. So, and because they're only passing through as they travel, they are less likely to be identified or noticed, and consequently less likely to be caught. This, of course, brings to mind the semi-truck driver that Mr. Carnes had been following on the night of April 13th. Who was this person? Could they have done something to Mr. Carnes once they both reached Elko? And these questions, unfortunately, remain unanswered. His family members don't believe that he would have picked up a hitchhiker. So as of when this article was written, current state of the investigation, no persons of interest have ever been named in Mr. Carr's disappearance. His family started a Facebook page dedicated to his case, as well as their own website, and they are still deeply committed to finding answers. Personally, his son, Jim, said, personally, I've come to the realization that he may not be with us today. We just want to know what happened. Dad was a good guy. To this day, the mysterious disappearance of Patrick Carnes and his dog Lucky remains unsolved. So what do you guys think about the possible truck driver serial offender connection? Let me see if these, if it'll take me to these links, and I will put them in chat. The Facebook group and the website, if they're still active. Okay, so copy that. All right, so this first link I'm going to put in is the Facebook page. And then I think it said there, my cursor's not working. There is a website. Okay, the website. Let me see if the website is still active. I may be. Let me see if the website has any additional information. I don't think it did. To see if I had any other information that wasn't in the article. No, it didn't, but I will put the link to the website in the chat as well. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me get back in your chat comments while I'm over here. Let's see where I left off. Goodness gracious, lots of comments popped up. I'm trying to. There we go. All right, there's where I left off. I think I said hello to Romero. You talk about Mr. Carnes. Romero says a man of that age is either an inside job for finances or some old age thing, and they did not feel it's enough to investigate more than just a missing persons case with no foul play. Now, this case, I don't. You might be talking about another case, but no, in Mr. Carnes' case, they definitely think it's foul play. Hey, Fritzl. Hello, hello. Good to see you all the way from Poland. So Poland's in the house. So we have the UK, Poland. Skit's checked in from New Zealand. Far's here from Australia. I think Gibbo is UK. I think somebody said. So everybody is in the house tonight. Thank you so much, guys. That's a good point. Romero says, and to be honest, it would be simple to check way stations to see which trucks are traveling that route and reports. That's true. Yeah, see, that's what Chris says, talk about lucky unless the dog was carried away by a person. I know, because it looks like, this is just me thinking, one set of human footprints leading away from the vehicle. No, it didn't mention anything about doggy footprints. So did, and it said the dog was 80 to 100 pounds. So, I mean, I know I could not carry an 80 to 100-pound dog. It could be, Mr. Carnes could have, but then he had that bum, an injured leg, a limp. His leg wasn't in good shape. Or, going on the theory that Mr. Carnes was the one that he walked away from, somehow got in, high centered in that remote area and then walked back up towards the highway and got a ride. But where are the doggy footprints? To me, that just was, again, just my opinion. Makes me think that it was somebody else. Maybe, possibly, just one possibility. We're just looking at possibilities that it was, somebody else that put the truck out there and then took Lucky. I don't know. Maybe was able to carry Lucky, so there was no footprints. Therefore, there was no doggy footprints. I don't know. It's baffling. Baffling. Yeah, Romero says now that there are two things at the same location. Yeah, Judith Casita. Someone walking out on the freeway, pretending to hitchhike, etc. I would investigate truck drivers and local setup. Yep. See, that's why they were thinking that you brought up the possible truck driver serial offender. Junior's asking Mustang, because Mustang's from Arkansas. Do you have an accent like Dawn? You mean accent or account? I think he said accent. Hey, Frank, good to have you here, sir. Always good to have you in the house. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a good evening, sir. Mustang says, I don't think so, but you may think I do. I mean, even with accents, even from just the state, different parts of the state, you can have a little bit of a different accent, different little nuance to accents. Because, I mean, I've been to lots of different places down, like for Louisiana, for example. Down on the coast, when you eat in the Cajun country, you definitely got that Cajun accent. But then more, like middle and northern Louisiana, is like a whole different accent. To me, it's just like what I call just that, mid-south, southeastern accent, southwestern accent, not southwestern, southeastern accent. So we probably, if I was to hazard a guess, we probably sound somewhat similar. Oh yeah, I'll have to go watch some of your shorts and analyze your accent. Uh, yep, Mustang is from a different part of Arkansas than I am. Hello, hello, stolen spirits. I don't know if it's Miss Nicole or Brady, but either one. Either way, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, Mustang is from the top north corner of Arkansas, but grew up in Oklahoma. So Oklahoma has got a little bit of a different, not too much different from Arkansas accent. Absolutely. Hello, everybody coming in. Yes, please hit the like button. Uh, Chat or not, we love our lurkers also. If you're watching on replay, thank you so much. Please hit the like button also. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you like the content that I have here, I do 1 to 2 live streams a week, and then I upload usually about 3 videos, short videos during the week featuring missing persons and some unsolved cold cases. So that sounds like your cup of tea. Please consider subscribing. Just get caught up, and I think I have one more article that goes a little bit more into the serial offender truck driver aspect of this. Yeah, that is a good point. Romero said we don't hear about 90% of these things daily because cities and states don't want bad publicity. It's easier to just say an elderly man disappeared and let the family search. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. Yeah, yeah, that would be true. Romero says it's also easy to tell a prints were made by someone with a bum leg. Yeah, especially if in dirt. Yeah, because you'll probably have a deeper impression of. I'm trying to remember. Is it the leg you limp on leaves a deeper impression? Maybe. So that's true. Mustang says I need to look up how to get into my laptop when I can't remember my password. Don't you hate that? I hate that. Thank you, Miss Farr. Yeah, Romero says stride different and pressure imprints. Miss Paula says, is it possible he just walked away? Yeah, it's possible. See, that's why I'm going back and I'm torn. Did he walk away himself? But where are the doggy footprints? Because I just don't know if he could carry an 80 to 100-pound dog with the leg and the terrain. It was rough terrain. Had the sagebrush and they said it was high centered, so that means there was ruts or indentations. I mean, it's possible, absolutely. Everything that's one. Either he walked away with Lucky, either carrying. He would have to have been carrying him if they didn't see any doggy footprints. So it's possible, absolutely. Yeah, I wonder. Romero says it is, but the footprints will be able to tell if it was him. If they knew what kind of shoes he was wearing. Now, if they knew what kind of shoes he was wearing, they might could match up the tread, the pattern on the bottom of the shoes. But I don't know if they knew exactly what shoes he was wearing. But that's a good point. Yep, I use that trick too. Gibo said turning it off and on again. That trick never fails. Restart. That's my go-to also. Yeah, Junior says I get my grandson to do it. I know kids, it never fails. Kids can always figure out how to fix stuff. That's absolutely fine. Says I'll have to watch it from the beginning on replay. Absolutely fine, my dear. And Romero says if it was also at night, there's plenty of time to make 2 trips. Absolutely. If it was something nefarious, you could, do your nefarious actions under the cover of darkness. Yeah, and it didn't say, let's see, because Romero said any 10-year-old fossil hunting would pour plaster and examine prints first to determine height, weight, pressure. And yeah, now it could have been, they could have taken impressions. I don't know. In what I've read, it didn't say they did, but that doesn't mean that they didn't. Let's see. Yeah, they said they found no usable fingerprints. Could mean that the car was wiped. That's also a fair point. Yeah, see, Ravel says sounds like someone trying to befriend elderly and taking advantage. Yeah, that's what caught me because Mr. Carnes was, how old was he? 86, and I think Judith was 62. So usually, statistic wise, you don't see a lot of, or at least I haven't come across a lot of cases of elderly people being the victims of serial offenders. But now that doesn't, obviously it happens, but yeah, I found that interesting also. Um, yeah, one of the, I don't know if it was a family member. No, I think it was one of law enforcement mentioned that it was if it was nefarious, which they think it is, it had that their feeling is that it was two people just logistically because of the, if they took his car out there and left it, then they would have had a way to be picked up by somebody else or had another car waiting somewhere. I mean, I don't think they mentioned any of the other signs of any other tire tracks from any other vehicle being in close proximity. So that is a fair point. He is missing from, you talking about Mr. Carnes from Nevada, from Wells, Nevada. Let's see. All right. Those are the links I put in. You're very welcome, Miss Paula. You're very welcome. I try to always remember to share the links when I come across them in articles. Did I miss somebody? Oh, almost missed Jody. Hello, Jody. Welcome back. Good to have you here. Sorry, my nose is itching. That's one reason I got my camera off for a minute. My nose is itching me. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you here. This is true. Romero says also you have to determine state of the ground at the time. Semi-solid ground wouldn't show the weight of the dog. That is true. Yeah, Fritzl was in here. Fritzl Garage. They were in here earlier from Poland. They're a long time. They've been here with this channel even before I started going live when I was making my very first crappy videos. They would always be so kind and watch them and comment on them and like them and encourage me. So Fritzl's been around for a while. Um, hey, GP. Oh, almost kicked myself out. Hello, JP. I'm thinking about JP. I haven't seen JP lately or on here. Hey, GP. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I'm just getting caught up. Okay, so it's Brady. All right. Because I know sometimes you come in and then under this, and then sometimes Miss Nicole comes in. But I think Miss Nicole may have her name at the end of it. Either one, good to have either one of you here. There's Michelle C. Hello, hello. Good to see you, ma'am. I know Junior said, I never understood why you need a password to start with. Passwords are good, but I mean, and I'm so bad about using the same password or a variation. Start with one password and then use variations of it for different things, but just something I can remember. I hate having to remember them, and I do have them written down. I have them hidden in a notebook, but still. Yeah, GP says, and you should change your password every 60 days. Usually I have to change mine, maybe at least one of mine once a month, because I forget what it is, and so I have to go in and change it. Junior says he wrote his password down, but he can't remember where he put it. Me too. Right, I'm gonna get caught up, and then we'll go to the one more article. Say I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that. Hey, Sunday to Doodles, welcome. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Everything keeps jumping, getting stuck. Oh, maybe I'm at the bottom. Okay. Okay. I'm caught up. Let me get one more drink and get into this other article. Let me get it loading. Okay. Let me find it. Okay, so this, it'll come up, is from 8newsnow.com, and it is from February of this year, actually, or is posted February 10th of this year, 2025. It says, unsolved mystery on the big lonely, what happened to Patrick Carnes. Oh, come on, yeah, I'll accept, get the ads. Okay, so long haul truckers call Interstate 80 the Big Lonely, a name fitting for the desolate stretch of road through northern Nevada, especially at night. In April of 2011, Patrick Carnes, an 86-year-old former truck driver, accompanied by his dog Lucky, was driving from Ohio to his home in Reno. Officers made a traffic stop on Mr. Carnes just outside of the small city of Wells, during which the driver mentioned that he had been driving in tandem with a trucker. Mr. Carnes told the trooper, I'm only following him because he is going to Elko. So author Frank Figliuzzi spent 25 years with the FBI. He wasn't aware of the organization's trucker task force, created in 2009 to investigate suspected serial offenders working as long-haul truckers, until after he left his government position. Figliuzzi sought to unravel the mystery behind Mr. Carnes' statement to the trooper that night. Figliuzzi posited, how did he know where the trucker was headed? And clearly there was a prior engagement between the two. I absolutely agree with that. There had to have been. So Figliuzzi took a deep dive into the world of long-haul truck driving serial offenders. He logged thousands of miles in long-haul ride-alongs and asked truck drivers about the realities of life on the road. Figliuzzi said he quickly realized why the offender truckers are able to fall through the cracks, explaining that they can exploit jurisdictional gaps. That's what we talked about earlier. If you take somebody from one state and then dump them in another state, that's different jurisdictions. It might take them a minute, a hot second, maybe two, if ever, to make that connection. So that just makes it obviously harder. He's set Figliuzzi goes on to say they'll grab a victim in one jurisdiction, they'll essay and take their life in a second jurisdiction, and then they'll dump the remains in a third jurisdiction. So you could have up to 3 different jurisdictions, which is even harder. Even harder. I can't use my proper English tonight. So the confusion creates a challenge for law enforcement, compounded by the fact that many times the victims' families don't know that they are missing. That confusion was mirrored on the case of Mr. Carnes' disappearance. So once again, the next morning, Mr. Carnes' vehicle was found in a field near an exit ramp 20 miles east of Winnemucca. Mr. Carnes and Lucky, the dog, had vanished with no signs of violence or robbery, and his vehicle was still operable. Mr. Carnes' family knew immediately that something was amiss. They began their own search, posting flyers at truck stops and fast food restaurants along the Big Lonely with no luck. Ken Carnes, who is Patrick's son, called the search for his father like being stuck in neutral. Describing the investigation, his son said, "Not going forward, not going backwards." The Humboldt County Sheriff's Department devoted hundreds of hours to its search for Mr. Carnes, scouring the desert with men, dogs, and helicopters. The investigation was a huge task for a department limited to 15 officers for 10,000 square miles of search area. So, then that brings in another theory that I said, depending on which way, if the footprints they found were leading back towards the road or farther out into the desolate area. If there's only 15 officers for 10,000 square miles of search area, it's entirely possible that he did wander away. Although I still want to know what happened to Lucky. And they just never found him. But I mean, they said they put so many hours in. They had dogs, they had helicopters. It looks like they would have found something. But although we do know that sometimes they don't find them, and it's a lot of times with missing persons who go missing in desolate areas, forest, woods, mountains. Years later, it's hikers, dog walkers, hunters that stumble across remains. So another possibility to add to the list. So once again, Curtis Cole, who's a Humboldt County Assistant Sheriff, says, "My gut tells me there's 2 people involved just because of the logistics." Investigators connected the case to at least 3 other cases, and I want to know what this other case is. We talked about Judith Casita. She's never been found. She was 62. Her vehicle was found basically in almost the exact same place that Mr. Carnes' vehicle was found. So Figliuzzi said law enforcement officers don't often believe in coincidence, raising the question, could a serial offender be preying on motorists along the Big Lonely? The FBI Trucker Task Force, created to put together the pieces, produced a detailed map, listing locations of missing persons and homicide victims. Figliuzzi cites a central reason for the research he put into his book, A Long Haul, to help local law enforcement also put the pieces together. The tome, the book, which contains details about the most grisly and graphic homicides, has garnered a lot of attention, still connecting with the primary targets of such criminals, such as sex workers, found at many of the nation's truck stops, is a difficult task. He helps enlist long-haul truckers to warn them. According to Figliuzzi, the decades-old issue is still very much relevant. He says 850 women their lives have been taken along U.S. highways, adding that the staggering fact is how little is known about them. He says 200 of those homicides are considered unsolved and still open, and there are 450 suspects amongst the long-haul trucker community. That is a lot of suspects, but that's also a lot of homicides. 850 women, and 200 are considered unsolved and still open, and then 450 suspects. Was that it? Oh, that might have been it. So yeah, there's just a little bit more about. So what do you guys think about this? I mean, obviously it's a thing because the FBI, whoever opened this trucker task force to look into it. Like I said, I know Dave out on the prowl is very interested in this. He has his theories about it. But yeah, it's almost the perfect cover, or for a serial offender is a truck driver. So, regardless, it's just so sad. Absolutely. Right, get that loading and go back to your comments for a second. Uh, I think I forgot to. Okay. Make sure I didn't miss anybody coming in. Who thinks you, Mustang? Who thinks you have alt accounts? Uh, so I don't know about that. I don't know that much about private truck drivers. Romero says all private truckers should have to use GPS. All major corporate truck drivers have strict books and GPS, even if you own your own truck, which is yeah. But work for the company so they can track the routes. Yeah. See, I don't know about private truck drivers, but I mean, what don't most somebody who knows more? I don't want to speak out of turn or something. I don't know a lot about. But if you're a private trucker, or what I've always called private truckers like independent truck drivers, which means you have your own cab, and then you can be contracted by companies to haul the load to wherever. Because when I worked at the Wally World, one of the ladies I worked with, her husband was an independent contractor, independent truck driver, and that's what he did. He would just whatever company, you know, companies would hire him to take load. He was a cross country. They would hire him to deliver loads. And I know during speaking of working at Wally World, especially during summertime, especially during Christmas time, because Walmart does have what they call their private fleet of truck drivers. That during busy times, sometimes during the summertime, most definitely during Christmas time, they hire independent truck drivers to do hauls for them. But that is a good point. Um, Echoes has popped in. Did you hear me? I know you sent me I don't know if he's still here. How far am I behind? Oh, I'm only 3 minutes behind. Hey, Echoes. My Bubba. I don't know. You asked me, he one that sent me the text earlier, asked about what's going on at Devil's Den. I don't know. I'm going to have to, all I know is two people. It was a mom and dad, a homicide. They had their two little girls with them, age 7 and 9. The little girls are okay with family members. FBI is in on it. That's all they were found on the trail. That's all that's been released because I did when I got home from work, try to find some news articles. So, like I said, Thursday night, because I won't be able to probably won't do live stream Friday night, Thursday. So it'll be Thursday night. If I can find some more information, if they release any other information, we'll do a true crime after dark and talk about that and whatever else is going on. But good to see you here, Bubba. I hope you and the missus are doing well. Oh, now Mustang is talking about Charles Manson and his followers. That's a whole other can of worms. Uh, yeah, subcontractors. Yeah, subcontractors, independent. Yeah, independent truck drivers. So Romero says, yes, the company hires you, but you don't have restrictions that the business sets as much. Yep, the trailer. Yeah, well, the when Walmart hires independent contractors, the independent contractors will go to the nearest Walmart warehouse, which is usually up in Bentonville. I think the closest one is in Bentonville to where I used to work at, and they will bring the load from the warehouse in Bentonville down to whatever store they're taking it to and drop the load and drop the trailer. That's how they do it. Ciao. You, is something wrong with me, no, Dino? Romero says, I used to work as a loader. Some trucks who came through Wisconsin pick up private moving jobs if their truck is light. Gotcha. Yeah, I heard y'all were supposed to have some bad weather up that way. Watch out for the naders. Well, lo and behold, I said his name. I didn't say it 3 times. I said it 1 time, and he appears. Hello, the forgotten artist, aka JP. Good to see you, my friend. Please do check out that is his new channel, The Forgotten Artist. Somebody can throw the link in if they haven't already. I'm gonna have to give you. I thought you had a wrench. I'll have to do it for your new channel. But do definitely check out JP's new channel. Oh, I got you. I got you, Mustang. I hear you. I just saw your yeah, I got you. I got you. Okay. All right, I'm caught up, so we will move on. Next, we have Richard Edward Goodwin Jr. Thank you, Romero says I signed up. I signed up for everyone's channel you post. Thank you. Right, so Richard Edwin Goodwin Jr. has been missing since October 23rd, 2008 from Henderson, Nevada. Very familiar to me. It's, if I remember, it's not that far out of Las Vegas. He's a white male. He was 45 years old when he went missing. He will be 62 years old as of 2025. At the time he went missing, he was 5'10" to 5'11" and 190 to 205 pounds, with gray hair and green eyes. His nickname is Rich. He had a trimmed mustache, which I think the picture I used, he has a mustache at the time of his disappearance, but no other facial hair and very little body hair. So he was last seen wearing a khaki shirt, blue shorts, and white sneakers. And I don't think I have a whole lot of information on him. No. So very scant information on him, but we want to get his name out there, his face out there with what the information that we do have. So Mr. Goodwin was last seen at his residence in the vicinity of the 2000 block of the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Trossachs Street, Trossachs, in Henderson, Nevada on October 23rd, 2008. He was a longtime employee of the Nevada Department of Corrections, but he had the day off at the time of his disappearance. So his wife saw him get into the passenger side of a vehicle that she did not recognize. She said it was a newer model, champagne-colored sedan with tinted windows. After that, he has never been seen or heard from again. He apparently left all his personal belongings behind, and his disappearance is considered suspicious, and his case remains unsolved. So that's all that we have. Once again, on this one, I dug in, 10 deep in the Google machine. Couldn't find anything. Not even on oh, go back. Sorry, my fingers are getting ahead of my mind here. Even on the web sleuths, they couldn't find anything other than just this information. But if you do have any information regarding Mr. Goodwin, you can contact the Henderson Police Department at 702-267-4750. All right. So I think we have one more. I wasn't able to find a whole lot either on Mr. Kerr. Maybe a few comments from Web Sleuths or something that a bit of, we'll get to it, but a bit of confusion on whether or not his remains may have been found or may not have been found. But I'll give you his basic information. So this is Thomas J. Kerr. He has been missing since September 26, 1997 from Las Vegas. He is biracial, Hispanic, Native American, and white. He was 37 years old at the time he went missing. He would be 64 years old as of 2025. At the time he disappeared, he was 5'11" and 215 to 225 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. He has scars near his left ear and the front of his hairline. One of his arms was previously broken prior to his 1997 disappearance. He is of Caucasian, Native American, and Hispanic descent. He may have a beard. And the smaller picture there is an artist or one of them composites of him with a beard, what he would look like with a beard and mustache. And then the larger one is obviously, which is the stubble. His nickname is Tommy, Tom, and Thomason. And he was possibly last seen wearing just jeans and a t-shirt. So Mr. Kerr visited Mugshots Lounge in the 3300 block of South Sand Hill Road in Las Vegas during the late evening hours of September 25th, 1997. He paid his bar tab, and he apparently planned to go somewhere else to have dinner. So he was last seen near the area of South Sand Hill Road and the Flamingo, Las Vegas, which is the Hilton-owned one of the casino hotels, in the 3500 block of Las Vegas Boulevard South during the early morning hours of September 26th. After that, he has never been seen or heard from again. He left all of his personal belongings behind, including his dented Ford pickup truck, his tools, his wallet, car keys, camping equipment, and jewelry. And his family members told authorities that it is very uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning, especially without taking anything. You would at least, unless you just like to walk, you would go in a vehicle and have your wallet and your car keys with you, your ID, and some money or a credit card. So Mr. Kerr's mother told reporters that her son was a heavy alcohol drinker in 1997. She also said that she believed that he was involved with substances, although she maintained that he was not a frequent user. His mother believes that he was the victim of a homicide as a result of his alleged connections to illegal narcotics, although nothing of that nature has been proven. Investigators said that there's little evidence available in Mr. Kerr's case, but foul play is suspected. Authorities stated that they located several potential suspects in his disappearance, but they could not arrest the individuals due to a lack of evidence. So maybe, hopefully, at some point, they can get some evidence to at least bring them in to be questioned. So Mr. Kerr was employed as a carpet layer and electrician in 1997. He also has experience laying concrete. He enjoyed camping and often visited Mount Potosi near Las Vegas in the wintertime. He is described as an affable person who's willing to assist anyone in need. His case remains unsolved, obviously, and that's about it. I did save the web sleuth, so there might be something in there. So if you have any information, you can call the Las Vegas Metro PD at 702-229-2907. Let me see what I had as far as web sleuths. So that's the information we already went over. Somebody asked what time of day was it that he was last seen? Was he on foot? Did he leave with someone? Somebody posted, somebody close to the family says, I would like to see if we can help locate Thomas Kerr. His family only wants to bring him home for a proper burial. His mom is desperate to bring him home before she passes. And this is a post from August of 2012. So about 13 years ago. It says, in looking at his case, I can see some discrepancies that need to be resolved that could help us in finding a match. For instance, so he was last seen at a family member's residence in the vicinity of the 3600 block of Forest Crest in Las Vegas, near Flamingo and Sand Hill. He was known to have frequented the Mugshots bar at Desert Inn in Sand Hill. I think there's kind of a discrepancy of some of the date that he was actually last seen. So yeah, they said the biggest question was he last seen on September 25th per NamUs, or 26 or 25th or 26th per NamUs, or as the Clark County has stated, on September 19th. So I guess there's a discrepancy on when he was last seen. It says if the 19th is the correct date, then there may be an unidentified male that was ruled out based on date last seen. I've requested a confirmation of this new date. We'll confirm on the thread as soon as I hear back from somebody. So they're just trying to see if any possible unidentified does, John Doe's, could be him. Somebody else posted, it sounds like his family believes that he met with foul play as opposed to being in an accident or some sort of mental health issue. I wonder why. From looking at his photo, I could be wrong about this. If he is deceased, is it possible that the coroner of the jurisdiction where he was found believed that he was either Caucasian or Hispanic? I know it said on somewhere that he had been removed from one of the. So in October of 2015, somebody posted that he had been removed from NamUs. The case report resolves to found, but I'm unable to confirm that anywhere. So that was the confusion of, was he found? Was he not found? And then somebody else posted in August of 2017, Doe Network reported on August 18th of 2017 that according to NamUs, Thomas J. Kerr has been located and this case closed. No other details given. Somebody else said, replied, it would be very intriguing to know what they mean by located. The wording makes it seem it could easily mean that he was found deceased or living. And then somebody posted on July 30th, 2018, unfortunately, Doe Network is wrong. He has not been found. His case is not closed, may never be closed. They say it would have been all over the news had he been found. The family held a funeral service for him as it helped bring a little peace to his mother. His mother and sister have since passed. This is from 2018 and being reunited. So yeah, it seemed like there was some confusion, but I'm just going to go on the assumption that he has not been found. So, and then the case is still open. But anyway, I think that is the last one we had. And I think that is the only other information that I found. So, see what you guys getting your comments again. There's where I was at. Sorry if you heard me slurping on my drink here. Thank you so much. That's fine. Maria said I may not be active a lot, but when I am, I try and show support. Thank you so much. Your support is greatly appreciated. Nat Romero, have a good night, sir. Good to have you here. Yes, thank you very much. Oh yeah. Oh shoot, I can't do it from StreamYard side. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, the easiest way if you're on the the YouTube side, chat, just click on the three dots and it'll say go to channel, and then you can go to more, like to their about page section, and you can copy the link and then paste it into the chat. That's how I do it when I do them. But I can't do. I'm on StreamYard side, so I can't do it from here from StreamYard. Paula wants to know, where in Vegas did he live? I'm assuming Las Vegas area. Good night, Junior. Thank you, sir. Always good having Junior here, another longtime supporter from even way back before I started my channel. I knew him from Mr. Steve's chats. We hope Mr. Steve is doing well out there. Hope he's getting some rest. Absolutely, prayers for all of them. JP says, makes me wonder how many of these are actually connected to other previous cases. Absolutely. Far says, does anyone else's chat disappear and come back seconds later on top chat? Mine doesn't. Mine does that sometimes when I'm in live streams on the YouTube side. Yeah. Every once in a while. There's Miss Lisa Joe. Hey, Ladybug. How are you doing? Good to see you. Always good to have Miss Lisa here. I love the Stranger Things clip. I love that clip. Yeah, talking about Ozzy, Eddie Munson talking about Ozzy. I like that. I like it. Like it a lot. Thank you so much, Mustang. Thank you so much. What is a drop bear? Wait a minute. Lisa Joe says, I'm going to catch me a drop bear and ship it to my arch nemesis. I may need your help. Hey, I'll help out, but you have to tell me, what is a drop bear? You'll have to explain what that is to me. Absolutely. Thank everybody for being here. Yes, Northeast Spice. Is that her new? Is that what Spice Girl she is? I just always call her Bitchy Spice. She likes that. No, I have got to watch that. I saw it that you posted it when I got home from work, but I will watch it, Miss Paula. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thank everybody for being here. Well, just a little bit over 2 hours. Thank you so much, Miss Brady, for being here. So I need to go for now. Thanks to you for all that you do. Absolutely. Thanks for all you and Mr. Cole and everybody else do. Please do check out Stolen Spirits, MMIWG, wonderful channel. Miss Lisa Joe's is whatever spice that we want her to be or that she wants to be. I want to know Lisa Joe, you're on Messenger with me on Facebook. You have to let me know what a drop bear is. Yes, thank you. See, I call her Bitchy Spice. Always and forever. Yep, she is Bitchy Spice. I mean, in the nicest possible way. Yeah, I miss Mr. Steve too. I think he said he may be able to come home sometime next month, sometime in August. He's out doing the good work. I do miss him though, but we understand that he's out doing the important work, boots on the ground. And I know this past last Monday was hard for Miss Barb. I believe it was 3 years since Timmy was found last Monday. So with thoughts and prayers always going out to Miss Barb and Miss Marion and the whole family, but especially this time of year, unfortunately. Might just try to set up, and I might have her on if she's not busy Thursday. Maybe see if she'll come on with me. But yeah, just thoughts and prayers always going out to Miss Barb. Somebody's still trying to get their computer going. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Miss Stain. Yep, I believe it was 3 years this past Monday that when Timmy was found, his remains were found. So, right, that was the last thing I had. Okay, so if anybody's got anything else they want to mention, thank you, Miss Farr. Absolutely. Like I said, probably doing the live stream Thursday. I'm gonna look into. Hopefully, they'll, if they find out anything. I think this is a devil's den situation or double homicide here in Arkansas. Excuse me. They just don't. I mean, they're investigating, obviously, but I mean, that's just so. I mean, so it's either. I mean, there's a multitude of possibilities, but it's either it was totally random, and that's scary. That if it's just totally random, that's just horror. I mean, even more horrifying than it's horrifying, regardless of what it turns out to be. But if it was just totally random, that just my mind has opened just a whole can of worms already. Because I said the family, the mom and dad and the two little girls, 7 and 9, had just moved to Arkansas from a different state. The girls were not harmed. They said they're safe with family members, but the parents their lives were taken. A homicide does not say what the manner of death was or cause. No, manner is how lives were taken, and the cause is or one of them is, like homicide, self-harm, accident, whatever. I always get them mixed up. But they haven't say how, if it was stab, if it was GSW, if it was something else. So they just said they've been taken to the state crime lab for autopsy to determine the manner of death, but it was definitely, they said it was definitely double homicide. So it was either totally random, which is totally horrifying, or was it somebody that they knew them, that had a grudge against them? But if they just moved to the state, it didn't say how long they had lived here. Had they made enemies by the time, in the time that they'd been here? Did somebody follow them and find them from where they had moved from? I can't remember what state. Let me see if I can bring up. Give me 1 second. Just right quick, and we'll go, like I said, here, are you punching on my, just give you a little bit of, okay, this is from 4 hours ago. This is from NBC News. A couple slain while hiking. Don't throw me behind the paywall. A couple slain while hiking with daughters in Arkansas State Park, police say. So the victims had recently moved to Prairie Grove, which is about 12 miles from the park. A manhunt was underway. So they have not caught the person who did this. I know they have a description of him. So a man and woman who had recently moved to Northwest Arkansas, where apparently their lives were taken as they hiked in a state park with their school-aged daughters, authorities said Sunday, and this happened yesterday afternoon. Arkansas State Police identified the victims as Clinton David Brink, 43, and Kristen Amanda Brink, 41. The agency said in a statement that the couple had recently moved to Prairie Grove from out of state. Facebook pages for each, verified by NBC News, said that they have lived in inland California and eastern Montana, and public records place them in Miles City, Montana. State police said the agency was notified of the double homicide in Devil's Den State Park shortly before 3 p.m. Saturday. The park is about 12 miles east of Prairie Grove and about 25 miles south of Fayetteville. So anybody who knows where Fayetteville is, it's in that general area. Arkansas Governor Sanders says, we are heartbroken by today's horrific news from Devil's Den State Park and are in close contact with state police and the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism as they work to apprehend the suspect. She said, quote, law enforcement will not rest until the offender is found and prosecuted. The victim's daughters, aged 7 and 9, were not harmed and were in the custody of family members, the agency said Sunday. It is not clear whether they witnessed the homicides. I don't even want to think about if, hopefully those poor little girls didn't see anything. But so a manhunt led by the state police is underway. An FBI representative did not immediately respond to a request for comment. State police said the offender is a man with a medium build who is wearing a dark, long-sleeve shirt with the sleeves rolled up. They at first said he was wearing a tank top, but then they said it was a long-sleeve shirt rolled up. Dark pants, a dark baseball cap, and fingerless gloves. He may have been seen driving toward a park exit in a black sedan, possibly a Mazda, with tape obscuring its license plate number. This is according to state police. Investigators believe the man may have driven on State Highway 170 or State Highway 220 nearby. No information about the type of weapon used or a motive was available. But you got to believe that they know, obviously, how it happened. They're just not releasing it. The Arkansas State Crime Lab will confirm the manner and cause of death, according to state police. Detectives hope cell phone and security video can help them crack the case. They called for anyone at the park Saturday with cell phone or GoPro style imagery to step forward. The area of the park where the homicide took place was off limits Sunday as the investigation continues. The couple's bodies were found on a walking trail, this according to state police. It described the area as remote and rural, a region, quote, where the terrain is rugged, vegetation is thick, and there is no cell phone service. A state park spokesperson said all trails at Devil's Den were off limits until further notice. So it says last month a dedication was staged for a newly renovated campground at the park. Arkansas State Parks described Devil's Den as, quote, a favorite destination for hikers, mountain bikers, and equestrians. Said it is not clear how the double homicide was initially reported. I think it was witnesses came upon it, but they said there's no cell service. But just a horrible. I mean, is it random? Is it? I mean, just in my opinion, it almost has to be just random for some reason. I mean, like I said, unless it didn't say all the articles I read didn't say how long they had lived here. Had they made an enemy or somebody that, didn't like them and decided to follow them hiking, knew that they were going to go hiking and just ambushed them, or somebody from where they used to live found them. To me, I don't know. To me, the most likely, what makes most sense to me is it was just random. And that's what I said is even more horrifying if it's just random. That means there's just some nutso out there. Just anyway, we'll talk more about it. Hopefully, they'll release some more information, maybe give some more details. Anyway, I'll stop babbling. Yeah, anniversaries are always hard. What? Your dog snubbed you? Was it fever or a different one? Lisa says, my dog snubbed me at a dog show. I uploaded the video. I saw the picture you uploaded of one of them winning something. Yep, I watched that clip that you sent me. Yep, GP says it's hard for families and friends. I have to watch it. Lisa Jo says it's so worth watching. There's 2 videos on my channel of her giving me the coldest shoulder ever, undeniably ignoring me. I thought it was only, see, I love all critters. We have cats. Cats are notorious for, I didn't know dogs were like that. MM, you mean MN, Minnesota? Tell my sister she should come to I'm assuming you mean Minnesota, for the state fair and do a live stream with me. I would love to. If I had the money for a plane ticket, the money for anything right now. You could come on a live stream with me. We could, all you had to do is get on. I can send you the link to StreamYard. We could do a live stream together. We wouldn't be in the same place. It'd be funner if we were in the same place together. Yes, I do need to come to Minnesota. Absolutely. Oh, Far says that would be wonderful to see me and Echoes together. It would be interesting, to say the least. It's gonna get caught up. I was Fever, the little brat. Absolutely, Miss Farr. Miss Farr says, can I ask for prayers for me? I'm having a really hard time dealing with my best friend's death. Absolutely. All thoughts, prayers, good vibes going straight to you, ma'am. Absolutely. I'm so sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that. So everybody's seeing thoughts, prayers, good vibes, whatever you believe in, straight to Miss Farr. See, Lisa Jo could come too. She's in up northern. She can come to the state fair. Me and you and Echoes and me and Miss Bitchy Spice can all do a live stream together. Telling you. Yes, absolutely, for Farr. You are so welcome. Yes, I've heard that y'all state fair is. I haven't even gone to the Arkansas State Fair in years. Years and years. Yep, absolutely. Losing a friend is always hard. Within the last, I don't know, what is it being? Probably longer than 10 years. I've lost the 3 best friends that I had in high school and after. Our little clique, out of the 4 of us, I'm the only one left. The last one passed away within this past year. So yes, it's definitely hard to lose friends. Yes. All right, so I'm going to quit babbling. So unless something comes up, we'll be doing hopefully Thursday night another live stream, just True Crime After Dark. Hopefully I can find out some more about this Devil's Den thing, and then whatever else is going on in the true crime world. There's unfortunately this world is not short of content, things to talk about, missing persons, unsolved cases. So we will have plenty to talk about, unfortunately. So I'll get some stuff together. As far as says, it was 35 years of friendship. I'm not coping. We saw each other nearly every day. He passed away 2 months ago. Yep. That's the way it was with this. The last one that died, he passed away within the last year. And I saw him. I didn't see him on a daily basis, but I saw him probably on at least a weekly, 2 or 3 times a week basis, just out and about. And it just total shock when he passed away. He passed away of a heart attack, and same age as me. We were 53 at the time. But yeah, it's so hard. Oh yeah, I can drive. Don't know so much about Mom. Yeah, I got my driving cross country driving in when we went to Arizona. Of course, I drove through the miles and miles and miles and miles, and like, to Texas and Oklahoma, and past the, between all the big cities. But anyway, Mr. Lisa Jo says she's going to St. Louis in the September. Excellent. All right, so before I babble on anymore, thank you everybody for being here. Get my multitask going here. Everybody have a good week. Until Thursday, hopefully we'll see you again Thursday. Stay cool, stay hydrated, be careful out there. Don't be scared, be prepared. Always be aware of your surroundings. Take care of each other. We are all we have. And as always, we'll leave on a little lighter note with our with the fur babies. And I will see you guys hopefully Thursday.